As things get more expensive and it's harder to cover the bills, harder to put food on the table, what I've seen throughout my career is the first thing that people stop paying for is their car insurance. Because most people, if you cancel the car insurance, nothing bad happens until you get into a crash. And so with the economy going the way that it is, a lot more people are starting to cancel their car insurance, which means the odds of you getting hit by someone that doesn't have insurance on their car is going up. And when that happens, it can be very hard to get you the medical treatment you need or any sort of recovery like you deserve. There is, however, a way for you to protect yourself because you are the only one that can make sure that there's enough insurance coverage to protect you. And that's what's called underinsured motorist coverage and uninsured motorist coverage. Generally, it's just called UM coverage. What UM coverage does is it says that if the other driver doesn't have insurance or doesn't have enough insurance, then your insurance company will come in and help pay the difference. Most people don't realize that in Georgia there is a statute that says an insurance company is not allowed to increase your premiums for filing a UM claim. Now, that doesn't mean your insurance premiums aren't going to go up because insurance companies are insurance companies and they'll raise your premiums for anything they can. But if it does go up and they say it's because of a UM claim, there's stuff that can be done to make sure that that does not happen because that is against the law. Not too long ago, I had a client that got hit by a driver that ended up not having insurance. And it took us a long time to figure out that they didn't have insurance. And if we don't know that they don't have insurance, then we have issues getting you into medical treatment and issuing letters of protection and making sure that your claim is going forward the way you need it. It actually ended up working out fine for them because they had UM coverage. And so because I knew they had UM coverage, I could go ahead and do all the investigation, get them the treatment that they needed, because even if I found out that there was no insurance, like I did, I was able to claim the medical expenses and their pain and suffering on their UM coverage. And so without that, they would not have been able to recover anything, and they likely would not have been able to get the medical treatment, and they'd just be going around hurt because of someone else and the fact that they didn't have insurance. And that's why UM can be so important, because if you don't have it and someone else doesn't have insurance, there's not going to be anything someone else can do for you. When you've been injured in a crash or a fall or anything like that, one of the most important things you can do for any sort of claim you might have is to get medical treatment and get it quickly. That can be somewhat difficult, and there's questions about how to do that. And one of those questions is, do I go to the ER or do I go to an urgent care? And the question to that can be a little bit complicated. There are times when you should go to the ER every time. Like I've had clients that were in catastrophic accidents and the ambulance took them straight to the hospital because they were unconscious and there were terrible injuries, and obviously the ER is where they needed to be. And I've had clients that were not nearly as injured and they're trying to decide, do I go to the ER where I'm gonna have to wait and get a big surprise ER bill, or do I go to urgent care or something like that? What I generally recommend people try to do is to go to urgent care. It usually takes less time. They can do the same things because most of the time in the ER, when you say you've been in a crash and you're not catastrophically injured, the doctor's going to do a pretty quick exam of you. They might do some x-rays and they're going to send you on your day. The urgent care can do that. The problem can be is a lot of urgent cares don't like dealing with car accidents. They don't like dealing with car accidents because they don't like dealing with me if I have to show up later to get them to testify and give you the records and do all that sort of stuff. And so I've had a lot of clients who go to urgent care and get turned down. If that is the case and you are injured and you need treatment, then the ER is probably the next best place to go. But my recommendation is usually at least try an urgent care if you're not catastrophically injured, because that's going to be quicker for you, it's going to prove that you're injured, and it's not going to cost nearly as much, which means there's going to be more money left over to try to get you the actual treatment that you need, instead of just making sure there's nothing internally wrong with you after a crash. So with that, you should hire Morrison Hughes because we know how to navigate this difficult process for you.